Hi, fourth graders. Today we're going to begin our next math lesson. So we're going to be doing Module 3, Lesson 3. So I'm going to need you to have page 61 in front of you. So looks like this. And we're going to do the lesson together. And then I will have you do the black and white worksheet independently. And then that sheet, I will need you to have the front and the back. You need to have a picture of both sides taken and forwarded to me by a grown-up. You can either attach it to this assignment. There is a spot before you submit it that you can attach something, or you could just send it to my email. That works as well. All right, so I'm going to get the camera all ready. Have your papers in front of you, and we'll begin. I just want to get this focused really quickly. There, hopefully that's good. All right, so we are Module 3, Lesson 3. And last time we were using addition and multiplication to solve word problems. And now we're going to be using division to help us solve multiplicative comparison word problems. So, I want to just, before we jump right into lesson, I want to look at this vocabulary word because this is going to help us a lot. So when we think about an inverse operation, so an inverse operation is when you kind of do the opposite of each other. So like when we think about multiplication and division, they are pretty much like the opposite of one another, right? They undo each other. So if I were to do the opposite of multiplication, I would be dividing. Kind of like the inverse operation for addition is subtraction. So I want you to think about that. This vocabulary word, this math vocabulary word, inverse. So an inverse operation is when you are undoing the other operation. So when you do multiplication, the opposite of multiplication is division, opposite of division is multiplication, and then think about it like with adding and subtracting. The opposite of addition is subtraction, and the opposite of subtraction is addition. So you can see that as an example here. If I have 3 times 2, that equals 6. So the inverse of that is that 6 divided by 3 equals 2. You could even say the inverse of 3 times 2 equals 6 is 6 divided by 2 equals 3. And you could also, the other multiplication equation you could have here is 2 times 3 equals 6, right? So the inverse of both of these multiplication equations would be either this division problem or this division problem. So 2 times 3 equals 6, or 3 times 2 equals 6. The inverse of those are 6 divided by 3 equals 2, or 6 divided by 2 equals 6. So I want you to keep that in mind while we're doing these problems, because that is really going to help you out when we are solving these problems. Okay? So we're going to be, again, using division to solve multiplicative comparison problems. And remember, multiplicative just means we are going to be multiplying. So this just means that we are multiplying. To multiply. So when we're done this lesson, you will be able to solve multiplicative comparison problems by using division with drawings and equations. So let's look at our first word problem. Olivia is in the photography club. She takes 15 photos at a garden. That is 3 times as many photos as she takes at school. How many photos does Olivia take at school? Now I want you to think about this for a minute. Let's think about this problem as a whole. We're not going to just jump right in and go, oh, I know, when I see times as many as, that means I need to multiply. Well, what's 15 times 3? But is that what they're asking here? Is that what they're asking? It says, how many photos does Olivia take at school? It says she takes 15 photos at a garden. Does that tell us how many she takes at school? No, that tells us how many she takes at a garden. She takes 15 at a garden. This number right here, this 15, is 3 times as many photos as she takes at school. So where does she take more photos? Is she taking them at the more photos at the garden, or more photos at the school? I hope you're saying that she takes more photos at the garden, because this word right here, that means the number 15. So that number, that is 15 is 3 times as many photos as she takes at school. So that means 15 is 3 times more than the school photos. So we don't know. The unknown, our unknown is the school. We do not know the school number. That's the number we don't know. That's going to be the smaller number. That's going to be the number we're going to put inside here. But we don't know that yet. So this is going to be our garden. Our garden is more than our school. Now, we know that times as many as means to multiply. So if I'm thinking about the inverse operation, I'm going to need to divide. I'm going to need to divide to figure this problem out. So I'm going to move away from this right now, and I want to think about how I'm going to solve this, and then we'll go back and we'll plug this in. So we know that our problem is 3 times as many as our unknown, right? We don't know how many she had at school, is 15. 3 times as many as our unknown is 15. So 3 times n, which is our unknown, equals 15. So how am I going to figure out what our unknown is? This is where our inverse operations are going to come in. I know it's multiplication. I know that I can do the opposite of multiplication to solve this problem. How would I write this in a division problem? 3 times n equals 15. Well, I always put my bigger number first when I'm dividing. So I would say that 15 divided by 3 equals n. 15 divided by 3 equals n. 3 is going to be the number I need to divide into 15. So let's think about that. What number is going to be our n here? So I'm going to think, what number times 3 equals 15? Well, if I count by 3's, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. How many fingers did I count to get to 15? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I needed 5. So that tells me that it equals 5. That tells me that 3 times 5 would equal 15. 15 divided by 3 equals 5. So Olivia takes 5 photos at school. So up here in my garden, I know that she took a total of 15 pictures. So each one of these boxes would be one of these n's. Well, we just figured out that n equals 5. So inside our bar graph, I can put 3 5s. So those are some extra steps to figure this out. But I know that in our last lesson I told you, when you see times as many as, you need to multiply. But you also need to make sure that you're reading the problem carefully. Because reading the problem carefully is going to help you solve the problem. Otherwise, if you don't read it carefully, then you will end up getting into some trouble solving these problems. Okay? So let's practice another one. Let's go to page 62 and practice this one. So this year, 28 students are in the chess club. Last year, 7 students were in the chess club. How many times as many students are in the chess club this year than last year? So right now, what is the information we know? Let's read the problem again to find the information we know. This year, 28 students are in the chess club. So this year, 28 students joined the chess club. Last year, there were only 7 students in the chess club last year. So there are more students that joined the chess club this year than were last year. How many times as many students are in the chess club this year than last year? So here's our comparison, right? We're doing a comparison, and it wants to know how many times as many students are in the chess club this year than last year. So first, we know when we see times as many as we need to multiply. Okay? But we don't know one of the pieces because we know we're comparing two numbers with this total, right? We're comparing them with 28. So we know our total is 28. We need to figure out how many times 7 is going to equal 28. So again, we're going to use the inverse. We're going to write a division equation to solve this problem. So again, when we divide, we always put the bigger number first. So 28 divided by 7 equals n, right? That's our unknown. We're taking this problem and rewriting it into a division problem. Take our multiplication problem, rewrite it into a division problem. So 28 divided by 7. What number times 7 equals 28? Well, let's count by sevens, unless you already, I'm hoping you know your multiplication facts enough to know that. But let's count. So we have 7, 14, 21, 28, right? 7, 14, 21, 28. So I have how many fingers up? 4 of them. So that tells me that 28 divided by 7 equals 4. So this year, 4 times as many students are in the chess club. So there are 4 times more students in the chess club this year than there were last year. Okay? All right, so remember, we're just solving for the inverse. Alrighty, check for understanding. We're going to write multiplication and division equations to model and solve the problem. We're going to use n for the unknown. So Leslie collects 24 aluminum cans and 8 glass bottles for the recycling club. How many times as many cans as bottles does Leslie collect? So let's read our problem again to find out the information we know. Leslie collects 28 aluminum cans and 8 glass bottles. So she's collecting a lot of stuff, but do we want to know the total cans and bottles she collected? No, it doesn't say the total. It says how many times as many cans as bottles does Leslie collect. So this is a comparison. As many cans as bottles. So we don't know how many times, right? But we do know she collected 8 glass bottles, and that would equal 24. So n times 8 equals 24. So our division problem, we take our bigger number first, 24, divided by 8. I need to get both of my numbers on the same side of my equal sign, on the same side of my equation, equals n. So 24 divided by 8. How many 8s will get to 24? 8, 16, 24. How many 8s get to 24? 3. So 3 equals n, or n equals 3. So Leslie collects 3 times as many cans as bottles. Number 2. The students in the cooking club bake 12 blueberry muffins. They bake twice as many blueberry muffins as corn muffins. How many corn muffins do the students bake? So let's look back again at our problem. Let's figure out what we're trying to solve and what information we have. The students in the cooking club bake 12 blueberry muffins. They bake twice as many blueberry muffins as corn muffins. Twice as many blueberry muffins as corn muffins. So which do they make more of, blueberry muffins or corn muffins? Well, if they make twice as many blueberry muffins as corn muffins, they make more blueberry muffins than corn muffins. And it wants to know how many corn muffins do the students bake. Well, I know that we have 12 blueberry muffins, right? So that's my equals. What would be my multiplication equation? It doesn't give me another number, but it gives me this word twice. What do I know about the word twice? Twice means 2. So 2 times n, right, are unknown. We don't know how many corn muffins were baked. But we do know twice as many blueberries were baked. So let's do our division. 12 divided by 2 equals n. 12 divided by 2. If I split 12 in half, what do I get? Or I could count by 2s till I get to 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I have 6. Or if I split 12 in half, I get 6, right? So 6 equals n. So that means the students bake 6 corn muffins. So they make 6 corn muffins and 12 blueberry muffins. Okay, number 3. Adjust my camera again. All right, so this is the on your own part. So when we get to this part, you could pause the video if you want, work on this independently, and then come back to the video to check your answers, or you could just do it with me, and then do it as we do this together. We'll do this as we go along. So it's your choice. The library club receives 56 fiction books and 8 nonfiction books. How many times as many fiction books as nonfiction books does the club receive? So we need to figure out this problem. Look, it already gave us the picture. So this shows us that there are 56 fiction books and there are 8 nonfiction books. So how many times greater are there fiction books than nonfiction books? Well, for this one, we could just count our squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7. Another way to solve it could be to say, 56 divided by 8 equals how many? So if I do my math, right, to figure out what is 56 divided by 8, well, that equals 7. So there are 7 times as many fiction books as nonfiction books. There are 7 times as many fiction books as nonfiction books. Number 4. Bob fills a basket with carnations and roses. He uses 18 roses and twice as many roses as carnations. How many carnations does Bob use? So we want to know how many carnations he uses. Well, we know he uses 18 roses. Bob fills a basket with carnations and roses. He uses 18 roses and twice as many roses as carnations. So he is using more carnations or more roses? He is using more, I hope you're thinking or said out loud, roses. He's using more roses because he has twice as many roses as carnations. So that means the roses is more than the carnations. So if the roses are more than the carnations, then my multiplication equation has 18 as my answer. And this one we're going to start with our multiplication equation. Twice as many. What did we say was twice as many? 2 times as many. 2. If it's twice, it's a 2. So now we're going to use the inverse operation. So the opposite, right? We're going to take our multiplication and turn it into a division problem. So this is now going to be a division problem. My bigger number goes first, so it will be 18 divided by 2 equals n. 18 divided by 2 equals n. So n equals 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So that gives me 9. Or if I split 8 in half, I get 9. So Bob uses 9 carnations. Don't forget your label because it is a word problem. We always need our labels with word problems. It is important. Important. Okay, number 5. A sweater costs $40. That is 5 times as much as a shirt. What is the price of the shirt? Write multiplication and division equations to model and solve the problems. Use S for the unknown. This time they want us to use an S. So instead of the N, we're just going to use an S for this problem. So let's look at this problem again. A sweater cost $40. So we know that our sweater is $40. That means the $40. That is 5 times as much as a shirt. That is 5 times as much as a shirt. That means the sweater is more expensive than the shirt. That means the sweater is 5 times more expensive than the shirt. Okay? That belongs to how much the sweater cost. What is the price of the shirt? So first we need a multiplication equation. So we know which one costs more? The sweater. So that's our equals. That's our after our equal sign. And remember, we're using an S for the unknown. So we're going to be, what are we going to multiply by S? We're going to multiply 5 times. 5 times as much. 5 times S equals 40. So that's our multiplication problem. Now we need to write a division equation. We need to write the inverse of our multiplication equation, the opposite. So that would be, remember our bigger numbers first, 40 divided by 5 equals S. You must write these equations, okay? That's what it's asking for, are the equations. And an equation has to have what your operation is and an equal sign. It has to have all of those pieces. So now how do I solve this? 40 divided by 5. Count by 5 so you get to 40. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. It is 8. So S equals 8. So that means the shirt cost $8. Number 6, we're going to skip. We're not going to write our own word problem, so you can go ahead and skip number 6. And we're going to go to number 7. Oops, adjust my camera. Alrighty, so we have the martial arts club. So in the martial arts club, students spend 20 minutes working on blocking. That is 4 times as long as they spend meditating. How many minutes do the students spend meditating? So let's read this again and find out our information. Let's figure this out. So in the martial arts club, students spend 20 minutes working on blocking. So they're working on blocking for 20 minutes. There's that word, that. The that belongs to the 20 minutes, right? That belongs to this blocking number, to the 20 minutes number. That is 4 times as long as they spend meditating. So they spend longer blocking than meditating, because this number is 4 times as long as they spend meditating. So our unknown is our M. So our unknown is this first section. So we don't know how long they spend meditating. We do know for blocking, they spend 20 minutes. So this would total be 20 minutes. We're not going to fill this in. Let's do the problem first and then we can fill it in. So we're going to use inverse operations to write equations to model and solve the problem. So our multiplication equation would be, it's 4 times as long, 4 times M, right? Our meditation. So our blocking is 20 minutes. Our blocking is 4 times as long as our meditating. So now what would our division problem look like? Always put that bigger number first for division. Be 20 divided by, remember we're trying to get all of our numbers on the same side. 20 divided by 4, the same side of the equal sign, equals M. That's how you know you're doing the inverse operation. So 20 divided by 4 equals, count by 4s till I get to 20. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So that's how many numbers? 5. So M equals 5. So that tells me each one of these need to be 5, right? Because inside is my M. Each one is 5, and there were 4 of them. So it's 5 minutes meditating. Five minutes meditating. All right, number 8. Students in the engineering club build 2 train tracks. Track A is 24 feet long. That is 3 times as long as the length of track B. What is the length of track B? Show your work. All right, let's reread it. Remember, I always read it through once just to get a feel for the problem. Now I'm going to go back in and read it a second time. Students in the engineering club build 2 train tracks. Track A is 24 feet long. That, there's that word that. When that comes right after, that goes with our 24. So that number is 3 times as long as the length of track B. That is longer. Okay? This is our longer one. That is 3 times as long as the length of track B. What is the length of track B? So that tells me that I need to do 3 times N equals 24. N is my unknown. N is my track B. I know that if I multiply track B times 3, which is 3 times, I'm going to get the total for track A, which I already know. Now I need to get everything onto all the numbers onto the same side, so I have to do the inverse of multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. The opposite, the inverse, is division. So 24, remember my bigger number is first. 24 divided by 3 equals N. 24 divided by 3 equals N. How many 3's are there in 24? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So I have 8. So N equals 8. So the length of track B is 8 what? 8 feet. And we are also going to cross off number 9. So I'm going to look at your homework really quickly and see if there's any I want you to first one looks good. No, that's good. Nope, you're all set. Okay, so what I want you to do is now do the black and white worksheet, the one that says 3.3, the front and the back, and then I need you to have a grown-up at home take a picture of the front and the back, or you can take a picture of the front and the back, and you can either upload it to this lesson, this assignment on your Google Classroom, or you can have an adult email it to me, or you can email it to me through your own email address. Okay? If you have any questions on this, I will be, because it's Wednesday, we have a group Google Meet. I'm hoping everybody will join us, and I have an activity for us to do. But you can also ask questions then, or you could send me an email, and we could set up a time to do a Google Meet together if you have any questions, or just send me an email, and if I can answer it quickly that way, I will do that as well. All right, I hope you all have a great day. Work hard. I miss you all incredibly, and I will see you soon. Bye.